Right now on the National Weather Desk, fire season. More than 1,000 people are forced out of their homes as flames spread across Arizona, Colorado. Unhealthy air. Smoke from Canadian wildfires once again clogs U.S. cities.
It's kind of otherworldly.
Where that smoke is heading next. Heat wave. The extreme temperatures are leading to more emergencies.
48% increase in calls.
Deep dive. A marine scientist with submersible experience talks about going to the ocean floor.
Does this make you fearful at all about ever getting back into a submersible?
The big melt, where California's record snowfall is going.
2 lakes in central California with water almost to the top.
Plus, where you can still hit the slopes even into July.
From our nation's capital, this is the National Weather Desk.
Good morning and welcome to the National Weather Desk. I'm Angela Brown. Fire season is starting in Arizona. 2,500 acres north of Scottsdale are burning out of control this morning in what's being called the Diamond Fire. It broke out yesterday afternoon and quickly spread. Hundreds of people are helping fight that fire, including air support. More than 1,100 people were ordered to evacuate. There are also horse ranches in that impacted region. No word this morning on what started the fire, but there are no reported injuries or even deaths. In Colorado, the Spring Creek fire has burned more than 2,500 acres. Smoke could be seen billowing into the air. Firefighters are focusing in on an area near the town of Parachute that's in western Colorado near Grand Junction. So far, there are no threats to any buildings and no evacuation orders being issued. A spokesperson says the fire is likely human caused. Smoke from Canadian wildfires is once again turning blue skies gray across portions of the country. I want you to check this out. This is what the Mackinac Bridge in northern Michigan looked like on Sunday, and this is what it looked like yesterday. Take a look. The towers on the bridge are no longer visible. Today, the smoke is heading out of the upper Midwest and Great Lakes region. Meteorologist Christina Ernie shows us where it's going.
Good morning. Canadian wildfire smoke is billowing south, and this is affecting many states in the Midwest. In fact, some of the most unhealthy levels of air quality in the entire country yesterday was in Chicago. Now, today we're seeing unhealthy and very unhealthy levels of air quality in the upper Midwest, and we'll also start to see alerts closer to the mid-Atlantic as a result of the direction that wind wraps around a low. It'll be pulling the smoke not only through the Midwest, but now as far south as Atlanta into North Carolina with unhealthy to very unhealthy levels of that air quality. It continues throughout the day today, but we do actually start to see some improvements as we head towards tomorrow. For the National Weather Desk, I'm meteorologist Christina Ernie.
And the smoke, a new report says the smoke emissions from the wildfires are now the highest emissions on record for Canada. And that's the smoke that's impacting air quality right here in the U.S. Emily Mastestic has more from Green Bay.
It's kind of otherworldly, to be honest.
All of Wisconsin is under an air quality advisory until Thursday because of the high amount of PM 2.5. PM 2.5 are particulate matter or tiny particle pollution in the air that are harmful to your health.
I don't think Wisconsin has ever experienced this magnitude of impacts from Canadian wildfires for this sustained amount of time.
Right now, the real reading, the PM 2.5 reading is 191.7. So it's pretty high up there right now. So this would be, in the AQI range. Whenever you see the colors on the map, this would equate to the red to borderline purple. So you're getting into almost the very unhealthy range.
That high reading of pollutants in the air isn't just dangerous for those who already suffer from heart and lung issues. It should be a concern for everyone.
We're suggesting everybody keep outdoor activities light and short and to go indoors if you have respiratory symptoms.
It's a warning people seem to be following, as pools and parks in the area aren't as busy as they usually are on hot summer days. And people who are outside are taking it easy.
Exerting yourself a lot in the outdoors over the next few days is not advised.
And heavy rain brought flash flooding to downtown Baltimore yesterday afternoon. Look at this. Meteorologist Jonathan Meyer shared this video on his Facebook page. If you look closely, you can see just how deep the water is right there. Remember, 6 Inches of water is enough to cause drivers to lose control and even possibly stall. Now, plenty of people will be celebrating July 4th next week with, of course, fireworks, but the mix of fireworks and drought can be very dangerous. Mackenzie Laporte is in Illinois with the safety concerns to look out for this upcoming long weekend.
Yeah, now, according to a U.S. drought monitor, parts of the Midwest are now in moderate to extreme drought compared to what we were seeing just a few weeks ago. And with the holiday weekend approaching us, fire departments across the Midwest are warning their residents about firework safety concerns.
We asked Champaign's Deputy Fire Marshal what firework tips the department has this year for the community.
The best tip would be to just leave them alone this year.
According to the National Fire Protection Association, fireworks started over 12,000 fires in 2021, and that number would only grow in today's drought conditions.
We know around the 4th of July the calls are going to go up. Anything that you have to light, know that there's concern for things to get out of hand.
Now, as we are tracking this, drought is most intense across Missouri and southern western Iowa, where there are patches of extreme drought. And severe drought has also developed rapidly across central and northern parts of Illinois, western Indiana, and eastern Iowa.
That they're saying it's one of the worst drought conditions that we've had for a long time. For those that decide to mess with ones that are legal, be extremely careful, make sure they're put out, have water available, buckets of water for the little sparklers and stuff. But our overall recommendation would be just leave them alone.
And no rest for air conditioners across Texas and Oklahoma today. The mercury is once again soaring into the triple digits. Alex Trevino is in San Antonio with what residents and first responders are doing to stay safe.
Lots of water the night before and water on the course, of course some Gatorade and ice water and cold rags. We watch out for each other out here.
That's exactly what San Antonio fire crews do and recommend you do the same. The unusually high temperatures this month is keeping the San Antonio Fire Department so busy that they are rotating shifts more frequently to relieve fire crews on scene.
We've seen about a 48% increase in calls, heat-related calls.
San Antonio Fire Department spokesperson Woody Woodward says the 48% increase in heat-related calls represents a sharp rise this month compared to the month of June last year.
That could be a variety of things. Someone just feeling ill, someone actually passing out, you name it.
That's why Woodward says it's vital that you call 911 if you feel ill or see somebody who appears to look weak.
If you're feeling nauseous or if you're feeling dizzy, like you may pass out, then you may be looking at heat stroke instead of heat exhaustion. And heat stroke is very serious and can be life-threatening.
To prevent a heat-related illness, Woodward says stay hydrated and try to limit the amount of time you're outside.
If you're outside out in the sun, every 10 to 15 minutes you need to take a break, get out of the sun, seek some shade, cool down a little bit.
A little hot, but what else can you do?
And sad news yesterday with word that former NFL quarterback Ryan Mallett drowned while swimming along the Gulf Coast. His is the latest in a string of deaths likely tied to rip currents. Birmingham meteorologist James Spann has more on these powerful ocean currents.
At least 11 people have died due to rip currents along the central Gulf Coast over the past 2 weeks, including 7 deaths at Panama City Beach from June 15th through June 24th. Rip currents form around low spots or breaks in sandbars and also near structures such as jetties and piers. A rip current, sometimes incorrectly called a rip tide, is a localized current that flows away from the shoreline toward the ocean, perpendicular or at an acute angle to the shoreline. A person caught in a rip tide can be swept away from the shore very quickly. The best way to escape a rip current is by swimming parallel to the shore instead of towards it, since most rip currents are less than 80 feet wide. If you see a red or double red flag, it is always best to stay out of the ocean.
Good information there. It can take mere minutes. We're talking about heat stroke inside of a vehicle, and it can be deadly. Cars parked in the sun can heat up about 20 degrees in a short amount of time, even if the windows are cracked. Children are at the highest risk because their bodies heat up 3 to 5 times faster than adults.
Some of the things that we tell parents to do is you can leave your purse in the back seat. You can leave your phone in the back seat. We even sometimes talk about caregivers can take a shoe off and put it in the back seat.
So always remember to look in the back seat before locking the car doors. And coming up on the National Weather Desk, why all the water from California's melting snow is posing a flood risk, and we'll keep deep ocean exploring with scientists when we come back.
I'm meteorologist Charlie Lopresti with a look at the Northeast. We have more unsettled weather at times in the Northeast over the next couple of days. Our best chance for showers and thunderstorms today will be in New England. Our warmest temperature should be in southern New York and also northern New Jersey. The few spots may nudge 80 degrees. We'll have elevated humidity. Another round of showers and perhaps a few rumbles of thunder will move back into the picture on Thursday. That's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Temperatures will be a little bit warmer. We're back in the 70s and 80s.
I'm meteorologist Jonathan Myers, and here's a look at the mid-Atlantic region. Starting off with 60s and 70s on Wednesday, and actually a better-looking day. Still a few residual clouds mixed with the sunshine, but highs getting generally into the 80s, some 70s in the higher elevations. But really a nice-looking day as humidity comes down a little bit in the wake of our latest weather maker, a cold front pushing off the East Coast. So it's looking like it turns rain-free and more comfortable for our midweek. That's the scene here.
I'm meteorologist Vitas Reed. Here's a look at your southeast forecast. Highs for the day, 90 degrees in Raleigh and Charleston, 91 in Atlanta. Mobile, a hot one at 95 degrees. Birmingham, 96. We can get up into the low 90s in Tampa and West Palm. We're looking at those heat index numbers in the low 100s, especially as you factor in the heat and humidity over many of these areas. Plenty of sunshine as we go through the day. Looks like there could be a few thunderstorms north of Mississippi and Alabama, but most areas are getting more sunshine than any rain.
It's sunflower season in central Texas, and the flashy flowers are showing off despite the triple-digit temperatures. Austin meteorologist Chicago Windler went to a local farm to see how the heat wave is affecting this year's crop.
Farmers know how fickle Mother Nature can be, and from May's rain to June's steamy heat, these crops have been through just about everything.
Can you find the sunflower? There it is.
2-year-old River and her family braved the heat to visit Sweet Eats Fruit Farm in Georgetown.
Oh, just the size of it, the scope, everything. It's just a massive farm.
Over 100,000 sunflowers are blooming in 2 fields, totaling 6 acres of picture-perfect plants.
We are looking at, right now, a bunch of our giants. These are multi-stem giants. This field is kind of a maze where we have about 8 different photo stops.
Brian Monaco says last year's crop was hit hard by the drought, and this year our wet May and a new irrigation system have made a big difference.
This year, our ag manager actually went back through and we repiped irrigation all throughout this field here. So that is how we managed to get these beautiful things growing so big.
They tower as tall as 14 feet high, delighting visitors of all ages. Beautiful.
They are beautiful. We have 36 varieties of flowers, all kinds of different ones. There's firecracker and Kong, there's Pro Cut.
Sunflowers are sun lovers and known as drought-tolerant and heat-tolerant plants, but they do have their limits, and our extreme triple-digit heat is shortening the season.
Most of the time, they're a 90-day plant. With the heat that we have, they get about 10 days early, so anywhere between 80 days or so to full maturity.
The early bloom means the farm's Sunflower Festival opened a week early and may only last until early July. As for our historic Central Texas heat wave,
it's going to get hotter, right?
It's just going to get hotter.
The earlier in the day you come, the better.
And we definitely recommend bringing sunscreen with you. You're going to be out. It's going to be warm, but in general, you're going to have a lot of fun.
North of Austin in Georgetown, Texas, I'm Chicago Windler for the National Weather Desk.
In California, the heat is having a different type of impact. Snowmelt from the Sierra Nevada mountains is filling rivers and lakes. Fresno reporter Rich Rodriguez looks at why there is no risk of flooding.
It's a sight to behold. 2 lakes in central California with water almost to the top. Millerton Lake at 84% with a capacity of 500,000 acre-feet. Pine Flat Lake at 76% with a capacity of 1 million acre-feet.
We do expect it to fill by about the middle of July, and will probably remain full for about a week or so before the level starts to drop.
With triple-digit temperatures expected later this week, there is concern about snowmelt and whether the 2 lakes can handle the increased flow. Here's what that means. Right now, water is being released from Pine Flat at 8,900 cubic feet per second. In early June, more than twice that amount will be streaming into Pine Flat from the Sierra. McFarland says more water will be released into the Kings River, but feels flooding won't be a problem. Water being released from Millerton into the San Joaquin River is also at a comfortable level. Here's a snapshot of snow on the ground in the Sierra. Snow removal continues on Tioga Road.
So we're in zone 14 of 24 zones that are on the Tioga Road. This is the most dangerous zone that we have, but this is also a record year of snow.
The latest snow survey for our area shows a huge amount of water waiting to melt.
The June 1st snow survey, which by itself is very, very rare, found that there was over 1 million acre feet of water still in the snow and yet to melt in the Kings River watershed.
McFarland says it's unlikely all the snow in the high country will melt this summer. He believes there will be a snow carryover for the first time in years.
California's record snowfall also means skiers and snowboarders are still hitting the slopes just 1 week before Independence Day. Mammoth Mountain posted these pictures on Facebook, capturing skiers on some of the 67 trails that are still open. Mammoth expects to stay open through at least the end of July. They got more than 700 inches of snow last winter. The recent tragedy involving the Titan submersible is raising interest worldwide about deep ocean exploration. Meteorologist Emily Gracie spoke with Dr. Ellen Prager. She's a marine scientist who has been in a submersible several times. She talked about what it's like being so deep in the ocean and if she'd go back again.
You go from, let's say it's warm on the surface and you're in the submersible and you enter the water and it's kind of a royal blue, light blue. And as you go down, it obviously starts to get colder and it gets darker. And, these subs that are going to 1,000 feet or more, it's going to be pitch black down there. It's going to be freezing cold at the bottom of the ocean. And of course, huge amount of pressure.
I dove in a pool the other day, 8-foot pool. My ears popped, 8 feet. So what kind of pressure are we talking 1,300 feet down at the surface of the ocean?
Right. Well, so think of it this way. So for about every 33 feet going down, the atmospheric pressure essentially doubles. It was about over 300 times the pressure at the surface.
So I'm curious what you know about the Ocean Gate submersible and the materials used.
I was not involved with the design or testing, but certainly from what I've read and what I've heard from marine experts, people who build subs, is that their design was very different. It was a cylinder with 2 titanium caps on the end. So it was a sort of a cone or cylinder shape. And they were using a carbon fiber material combined with the titanium, which again, my understanding is you don't want to have different materials together because it weakens it when you go down under pressure repeatedly.
Do you have any thoughts on what could have possibly happened?
It looks like the submersible imploded, which suggests that there was some weakening or some flaw in the structure.
Does this make you fearful at all about ever getting back into a submersible?
So the folks that I have worked with, they go through the certification process. They work with marine experts, people who have had a long history of designing these subs. So for me personally, if I were get the opportunity to go to the Alvin to go look at hydrothermal vents, I would be there in a heartbeat.
And you can learn much more about submersibles by heading over to our YouTube channel. Emily posted an extended version of the interview. You'll also find many of Emily's other interviews there, along with 3D weather lessons and more. And please don't forget to subscribe while you're there. A portion of the Texas Panhandle was hit by a heat burst yesterday morning. That's when temperatures increased rapidly. Amarillo meteorologist Corbin Voges explains what this fairly rare phenomenon is all about.
When we get these heat bursts, what happens is you get these thunderstorms to produce some rain and lightning, and then we have this inversion of lofts. It's a lot of warm air. Once we get the downdraft of that storm, it pushes that warm, dry air to the surface and then tends to expand as that storm decays. And that's what happened there up in Fritch and Borger, currently sitting at 90, but 3 hours ago, they were very much like the rest of us, sitting at 78 degrees.
And as we go to break, scenes from Montana's Clark Fork River.
Good Wednesday morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Andrew Buckmichael. Taking a look at your weather story across the Midwest. Look at this, 103 in Wichita today, really heating up there. As we take a look across the rest of the Midwest, we've got scattered showers and storms across a lot of the plains. That will continue moving its way out to the east for tomorrow. Stay weather aware for the potential of some pockets of strong to severe storms through Illinois and Indiana. As we continue on into your Friday, still hot across the far south and 80s to the north.
Good morning, I'm meteorologist Alex Garcia. Here's a look at your regional weather. We're starting off a little warm into the 80s and 70s for the most part. It is going to be another hot day today. We'll keep our eyes on this dry line moving around, but most of the rain should be much further back out to the north and to the northeast. We're going to see triple-digit temperatures and heat advisories once again for most of the region. I'm meteorologist Alex Garcia, and that's a look at your regional weather.
Well, hi, everybody, and happy Wednesday to you. I'm meteorologist Shannon O'Donnell. The end of June is looming large, and so are the temperatures, especially in the desert Southwest. Back into the triple digits today out of Phoenix, and an even century mark around the Strip in Las Vegas today. By contrast, San Francisco with that June gloom and only 64 in the city by the Bay. You can see this area of low pressure triggering more thunderstorms over Salt Lake and Denver this afternoon. And that's the scene from here.
You are watching the National Weather Desk.
We have talked a lot about the heat today, but it's not just temperatures that matter. It's also something called the heat index. To help better understand what the heat index is, we turn to meteorologist Ryan Mirando.
With all of the heat in the deep south and the southeast, it's really more than just the air temperature. It's also about the heat index, or the feels like temperature. To explain what that really is, let's say the temperature outside was around 90 degrees. Now, that's really hot. our body begins to sweat, and when that sweat evaporates, that's what cools our body off. However, when we have a very moist air mass in places like the dew point was around 75 degrees, that's the tropical air mass. There's a lot of moisture in the air. With these conditions in place, the relative humidity sits around 60%. So it's very hot and very humid outside. So when your body sweats to try to cool itself off, it's not able to evaporate as effectively, and therefore your body's not as cool as it was. And so instead of the air temperature actually feeling like 90 degrees, your body recognizes as it feels like temperature of 100.
And we'd love to share your weather content on the air. You can find us on all of your favorite social media platforms. Just search the National Weather Desk. We'll be right back. Thank you so much for joining us. Tomorrow on the National Weather Desk, a look at the move away from grass lawns for homes in one western state. I'm Angela Brown. Make it a great day, and we'll see you right back here tomorrow.